Hello, algebra students. Mr. Lawrence here with a couple more sample word problems. Guys, I know you think these are hard, or some of you do. Just imitate what I'm doing. Remember, it all starts with the defining of the variables. Okay, you define your variables first, and these problems get a little bit easier. And the more you do them, they get a little easier still. Okay, you can do it, but you have to make the effort. You got to make the pencil move. If those thoughts, I don't know what to do, I don't know what to do, I don't know what to do, are flooding your head, you will be paralyzed. You won't be able to do it. You must imitate, if nothing else. All right, so let's see this first problem here. Bob has $10.30 in quarters and nickels. He has a total of 62 coins. Can you determine how many nickels and how many quarters he has? Well, I'm supposed to find the number of nickels and number of quarters. Those are my variables. I'm going to let n equal the number of nickels, and I'm going to let q equal the number of quarters. How did I know to do that? Because the variables are the unknowns, right? And what is unknown? How many nickels there are and how many quarters there are. Okay, don't make that difficult. All right, now, if I have the number of nickels and I combine them with the number of quarters, don't I get the total number of coins, which in this case is 62. So n plus q equals 62 is my first equation. Now the second equation is actually easier to get once you have the first equation. The second equation, excuse me one second. The first equation was number of coins plus number of coins and equal number of coins. The second equation is going to be all about money. All right, how much money do I have from the nickels? Well, each nickel is worth 0.05 or 5 cents, right? And if I have one nickel, it's a nickel, 5 cents. Two nickels is 10 cents. Three nickels, 15. But I don't know how many nickels, so I'm going to use a variable. Instead of doing 0.05 times 1 for 5 cents or 0.05 times 4 for 20 cents, since I don't know how many nickels there are, I just use an n, 0.05 times n. Then I need the value of the quarters. Well, a quarter is worth 25 cents, 0.25, and then I'll times q. That will give me the money from the nickels, the money from the quarters. That must equal the total amount of money. Notice there's no extra multiplication right here. We've got money from nickels, money from quarters, total money. There is no reason to multiply. All right, so now I can go ahead and do substitution or elimination. I think on this one I'm going to go ahead and do substitution. All right, and I'm going to solve for n, and I'll get, by subtracting q from both sides, I will get n is equal to 62 minus q. I'm going to rewrite this second equation, 0.05 times the quantity of 62 minus q plus 0.25 q, and that'll equal $10.30. All right, so I need 5% of 62. Well, 10% would be 6.2, so 5% would be half of that, would be 3.1. Minus 0.05 q plus 0.25 q equals $10.30. Before I go any further, I'm going to use my little highlighter here because a lot of you like to forget to do this. And I'm going to highlight these two like terms here. Maybe I'll use a bigger highlighter. There we go, just so it takes the less time. And notice one of them is positive and one of them is negative. All right, so I'm going to combine my like terms, and I'm going to get 3.1 plus 0.20 q equals $10.30. I'll subtract $3.10 from that, right? And I'm going to bring my work up over here. I'm going to get 0.20 q equal to $7.20. I'll divide by 0.20, divide by 0.20. Q is going to equal the quotient of 7.2 divided by zero point 0.2, which should just be 36. 36 quarters. Now, to get the number of nickels, I'm going to take the total number of coins, which was 62. I'm going to take away the 36 I just found, and, oh, okay, confused myself for a minute there, sorry. And I'll just subtract. And it looks like I'm going to get 6 and 2, so n is going to equal 26 nickels. And there you go. There's your answer, 36 quarters and 26 nickels. All right, let's try another problem. Chemistry one. I'll do this one by elimination this time. I see that Shelley needs to make 77 grams of a 45% glucose mixture. She has two vials. One is 35% glucose, one is 80% glucose. How many grams should she use from each bottle to create the desired mixture? Well, define my variables. I'm going to let x equal the grams of 35% glucose. And then I'm going to let y equal the grams of 80% glucose. How did I get that? It's because those are the things I'm trying to find. How many grams from each of the two vials? So I let x be one of the variables, y be the other one. All right, so the grams of the 35% glucose mixed together with the grams of the 80% glucose should give me 77 grams. Once you have that equation, the second one is simple. All I'm going to do is take the decimal as a percent, or the percent as a decimal, multiply it by the variable, 0.80y, and that's going to equal, I lost it, 0.45 times 77. On this one, we do have to do a multiplication here. Notice it's 45% of 77, okay, because this tells us the actual grams of glucose, and therefore the actual grams of glucose. It's not like the money problem where, we already knew the total amount of money. All right, now right away I like to do this multiplication here and put a different number there. So let me do 0.45 times 77, and that'll come out to be 34 and 65 hundredths. Okay, I told you I'd do this one by elimination. I think I'm going to multiply everything through by a negative 0.80, and my equation that doesn't change is the 0.35x plus 0.80y, and that equals the 34.65. Now my new equation for my elimination is negative 0.80x minus 0.80y, and that equals 80% of 77. So let me go 0.8 times 77, a negative 61.6. It's going to combine like terms. These are going to cancel, right? And here I think I'm going to get 45.45x, right? And over here, I'm going to get 6160 minus 34.65, and that'll be 26.95. And then I'm going to divide by 0.45. Divide by 0.45. X is going to equal 59.89 grams. So I'm going to need 59.89 grams of 35%. Okay? I'll subtract that number from 80. Oh, no, not from 80, from 77, excuse me. And I will get 17.11 grams. Those are rounded answers, of course, of the 80% glucose. And there you go. Okay, hopefully by now you're starting to get the pattern down of how to do these. Just keep imitating what I'm doing. They're really not that bad. All right, Mr. Lawrence signing off. Good night, everybody.